Football is all about emotions. It always has been, it always will be. The club that you are emotionally connected to is the one that matters to you. I mean, it's the reason that a lot of people quite like this kit, because they've got an emotional connection with this badge. I personally don't. I just think it looks quite nice. So I thought I'd have a little bit of a chat about the sort of emotional side of football, the memory side of football, with a repeat channel guest, a good friend of the channel. Hello, Evie. Oh, shit, this
Hello.
is awkward.
Yeah,
Same outfit?
yeah, we should have kind of
We should
said,
have that.
yeah, it's a
You
tad
reckon we get
awkward,
away with it?
really. Yeah, well, yours is the male one and mine's
Yeah,
the female shirt, so technically different shirts.
technically different products. And also, I made the bad decision of wearing this one to 7-a-side this week because I needed to play in yellow, and this is the only yellow football shirt I had. And it doesn't like AstroTurf very much, which is, it's
Oh
fine. I
dear.
kind of expected it. But before we dive into absolutely everything, there is something that I've been keeping a little bit of a surprise. I've got a bone to pick with you. And
Oh dear.
it comes in the form of a video that I put together of the last time that you were on this channel. Do you remember what happened?
I can't remember. I can't remember what the last one was that we filmed. Oh God, I'm sadly. Go on then. Go on.
Well, we're about to find out. Archie Gray.
No, stay. No, stay. No, stay. How long have you been waiting to do that?
It came to mind earlier today, and I was like, "Oh shit, we're recording a thing in like an hour and 15 minutes. I need to edit now." So in the build up to this one, I was like, "Yeah, I was busy making roast potatoes." I wasn't. I was trying to edit a thing, and at the same time, I needed to record about Crescencio Somerville. But yeah, I think I'm going to hold you personally responsible for Archie leaving because
Yeah, it is 100% my fault. I apologise that I clearly didn't have enough sway over his agent and Archie himself to stay. Yeah, it's all on me, guys. I
it's
drove
also your
Archie
fault
there.
that Victor Orta screwed the finances as well. You personally are.
Yeah. I gave him the credit card. I was like, Victor, just go spend, do what you
Just go
like.
for it. It's not even that. Victor Orta's not even a real person. He's just a sock puppet, and you just sort of went, I'm going to buy Aronson, or whatever. Yeah.
He's a figment of all of our imaginations. It's one giant conspiracy theory, is Victor Orta.
He's a big sort of like trauma monster that came to life, and it's just sort of nightmarish. Anyway, the actual gist of this video was going to be along the lines of footballing emotion and what it sort of means and sort of our connections to Leeds and all that stuff. That's why I thought the Gray thing was fairly relevant, because it just sort of adds up nicely. Gray, strong links to Leeds. Presumably has some strong memories of Leeds that are going to be slowly fading. But I thought we'd take a walk down memory lane and start off with our first Leedsy memory. For you, this must have been 1924, something like that. So, what's your first Leeds-based memory?
Well, I do have a picture of me somewhere as a baby in a Leeds United hat. But I obviously don't remember that because I was like a few months old. Baby. But
also, they had photography back then. I'm going to start regretting these. I know it.
You are walking a really fine line. So let me have a think. I remember the first time I went to Ellen Road. I can't remember what year it was, but I was maybe 15. Yeah, I reckon I was maybe about 15. 14 possibly, but I think 15. And I went with my dad, my brother, and my brother's best friend, and we lost. And
as is standard, to be fair.
Yeah. I think had we just been relegated to League One, possibly. So I'm sure that would be like 2008.
Ish. For some reason, I'm thinking 7. I'll have a quick look.
But I'm pretty sure we were in League One at that point. I'm sure it was.
Yeah.
And I'm sure we played Southampton. Because I'm pretty sure Gareth Bale played for Southampton, didn't he, at one point?
He did, yeah, I think.
I'm sure I was at that game and I'm sure he scored against us, or he was at least on the pitch. But I went a few times, but like when I was about that age, and then kind of social life and things got in the way, and I wasn't like massive into football at that point. I was more of a, oh, it makes me feel a bit sick now, but I was more into international football at that point in my life. Like, I know, I'm sorry, I say it in hushed tones. It's the complete opposite of where I am now. I can't stand international football. But that's probably one of my earliest kind of actual memories. I remember standing outside of Ellen Road, and I remember being absolutely freezing. And I've still got, my brother gave me one of his old shirts. I've still got it. But it was like massive.
Huge.
On me.
Basically, yeah.
Because he's like 6 foot and I'm not.
Really? I thought you were so tall.
So yeah, that was probably one of my kind of earliest like memories that I can actually legitimately say I do remember. Anything before that, I don't really remember. I remember one friend of mine in primary school was in tears when we got relegated from the Premier League to the Championship. But again, I wasn't really into football when that happened. So yeah, that's
for some reason,
first.
I can't find us having played Southampton in League One. So it might have been the Championship.
Maybe it was then.
I am desperately hunting this game down, but it's not happening.
I'm sure it was Southampton, but maybe that game wasn't the first game I went to. Maybe I went to a game before, but I'm sure it was Southampton.
Gareth Bale was there 2006 to 2007, so it was in the Championship, or at the time the Football League Championship.
Yeah, that must have been it. So in that case.
And I can't see the results, but I'm assuming it didn't go well for us.
Yeah, I'm sure we lost 2-0. Again, I could be mixing these results up, but something about that. I'm sure my dad said that, because I asked him about this not too long ago, actually, and I'm sure he said we lost 2-0. And it wasn't like the stadium wasn't that kind of full and things like that. It was quite a morbid atmosphere from what I can remember.
We got relegated with -10 points from the administration stuff, so I can see why that perhaps put a little bit of a dampener on the mood.
Probably why I didn't necessarily get the football-y bug straight away, because it wasn't like if you were to take, when we take our kids now, for instance, it's a really good atmosphere like that. Well, over the last year and a bit, it's been a really good atmosphere. But yeah, that probably wasn't so soon after like a fall from grace. I don't think it must have been the Championship, so I must have still been 14 then in that case.
To update you,
all right.
It was in November of 2006, and we got beat 3-0. Gareth Bale was on the pitch, but he didn't score. We were also against Bradley Wright Phillips, which is a weird one.
Maybe it wasn't, because it wasn't then. It wasn't at that point. It was definitely like in, I don't know, maybe March time, because it was cold still, but so maybe. Might not have even been a league game. Like, did we play them in the cup or anything that year?
Oh, this is so
making you work this evening.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't expect you to pull out the hard Googles. FA Cup, we lost 3-1 to West Brom, and in the League Cup, we played Chester, Barnet, and we lost to Southend.
Jesus Christ. No then.
That's such a
No way.
relatable, Jesus Christ, because it's
Yeah.
just so us.
It's just the cups, isn't it? You know, like we've lost to some
yes.
embarrassing teams over the years.
We've gotten used to it, though, right? Maybe?
Yeah, it's like the acceptance phase of like grief, isn't it? That we just kind of, oh, it's the cup. Oh,
Oh, good.
oh, it's
So we've lost this one then.
3-0 to Crawley Town.
God. You had to remind me of that one.
Well,
Where
we
they
had
brought on a fucking reality
what's his face
TV
from
guy. Yeah.
Towie, yeah. Yeah, the one who's married to, is it Michelle Keegan now? Who used to be in Coronation Street? Mark Wright.
I remember the name, so I'll pretend that I completely know who we're talking about.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. My first one wasn't one in the ground because I can't really pull out what my first match in the ground was. I think it was. I remember being a playoff match against Millwall at one point when I was like really little, but I don't know the specifics. But the first memory I've got of Leeds is us getting relegated, and I was in my granddad's living room watching it on the TV and just being like, "Oh, this is nice. This is football."
Welcome to Leeds United.
We'll become familiar with this feeling as time goes on. I thought I'd take it to slightly brighter views, though, because I figured, given our respective actual ages rather than the fictionalized, mummified version of you, I figured we'd also potentially look at what our best time in the ground has been, because it's a bit nicer, you know. It's away from the fact that we both sort of grew into Leedsiness at a dark, not very good time. So, what would you call your best?
Like, I've not managed to get to that many games because, as you know, being on the waiting list is like, awful. But I have just become a Leeds member plus, so hopefully I get the chance to go to actually some more games this year. Fingers crossed. You see, one of my best like in the ground memories is not a game. We took the kids as a surprise not the Christmas just gone, Christmas before.
Christmas
so Jesse
2022.
Marsh, yeah, Jesse Marsh was still in and around the club.
You leaked the slide with the bloody run hard, be intense.
I didn't. I wish I had done though. That would have been such a scoop. Yeah, I loved doing the tour. That was really interesting, like learning like a bit more about the actual history. Got to meet Ben. Oh gosh, what's his Parker? Yeah, so got to meet Ben Parker. He kind of was the one who was taking us around on the tour, and I really enjoyed it. We got to go like at the side of the pitch in the dugout and things, and the kids got to hold up the like the minute board and things. Got to walk down, the tunnel. I got to get my picture next to Click's shirt because Click was my kind of one of my favourites, and obviously a few weeks later he was gone. So I was so grateful that I got to actually, yeah, I know, a bit sad. But yeah, I really enjoyed it because there was still a bit of hope then as well.
And then
we could potentially stay up, and then it all just went.
It all went away fairly quickly.
But you could see as well, I found it really interesting because obviously when you're watching it on the TV, you can't really make out the pitch lines. Whereas when you're at the game and like in the ground, you can see how much more like narrow it was and how, he'd changed it. We'd gone from having the widest pitch that we could like legally have to having the narrowest pitch we could, legally have. And the difference that it made in terms of the types of football that we were wanting to play, and the fact that I even said to my husband, like, oh, those are Bielsa lines. Because it felt really sad at the time, like watching it, just thinking, because at that point we'd won 4 games: Chelsea, Wolves,
Liverpool.
Bournemouth, and Liverpool. Yeah, so it was, we hadn't won an awful lot of games, and it was before. It was just. It was the. Was it the day after the Man City game? So the first game where I think we lose 2-0.
I seem to think that we got a lot worse battering than 2-0. But I'll have a look.
I'm sure. Did we score? Was it 3-1? Haaland scored for definite because he didn't celebrate. I'm sure he scored a brace. But he didn't celebrate, and that was the one where there's all those videos of Calvin
it's only
Phillips.
3-1. Okay.
3-1.
Yeah.
It was the previous season where we'd got 4-0 and 7-0. But that was the game where Calvin Phillips was warming up, and obviously all the Leeds fans were singing "You're too fat to play for Leeds," because it was directly after the World Cup when Pep had kind of said that he's basically a bit too chunky. So yeah, that was quite amusing. I think that was literally the day before we went, or it was going to be the day after. I can't actually remember, but it was. Looking back at it now, seeing how politically correct all of the people in and around the club were about Jesse was really telling now. When you just think, how whenever anybody in like our group asked a question about Jesse Marsh and things, they were so diplomatic with their answers. You could talk to them about Bielsa and you could just see like smiles beaming and things, and then you talk to them about Jesse Marsh and it was incredibly diplomatic.
Yeah.
Which
and it was like, he's a manager, employed by the club, and just making things up as he goes to sort of be like.
It was quite I know you can kind of look back in hindsight and things, but it really was quite telling of how scripted the answers seemed to be. Whereas you could ask a question about any kind of previous manager, even the managers that we didn't like, because enough time had passed, you could kind of laugh and joke about them. Whereas, Jesse Marsh, it was very scripted and rehearsed type of answers. So, I think that was quite telling, really, about how he was received around the club in terms of his tactics. I'm sure everybody loved him on a personal level because he always seemed very nice to me. But in terms of when you've gone from Bielsa to Marsh,
you can sort of feel the standard slip a little bit downhill.
Yeah. I mean, we still had Sam Allardyce to come in at that point as well.
Yep. And poor Javi, who tried, to be fair to him, he didn't end up playing a 6-3-1 when we needed to beat Spurs, which was a choice.
Do you ever feel with him that it was like right man, wrong time?
What, with Allardyce?
No.
I was going to say.
No. With Javi Gracia. Like, I think that under a different circumstance, if the mentality hadn't been like hammered away at and the trust issues hadn't developed with the players and Leeds in a sense, that maybe he actually could have been a good manager for us, but unfortunately it just was, we were too far gone to actually do anything. And we seem to have now, looking at it, a group of players that didn't give a damn.
Yeah, I think if we do anything against Palace but lose 5-1, even if we lose 2-1, I think things end up sort of okay that season, but it's the fact that we got somehow hammered in one half by Palace, and then we lost 6-1 to Liverpool, and then we lost to Fulham, that it sort of went a bit like, oh, well, I guess we're down then. And I've just seen from that Palace match onward, we got 2 points for the rest of the season in 9 matches.
God. And one of those points was against Leicester. And the other one will have been
Trying to see if you can do your
yeah,
chronological order goal scorers bollocks again.
I'm sure Javi's last game Bournemouth, the 4-1 loss against Bournemouth. The game before, I think that was the Leicester game, and we got a draw with somebody under Sam Allardyce. I'm sure we did.
We did.
It wasn't West Ham. We lost to Newcastle 2-2.
I don't know how you've pulled that out. I'll be completely honest with you. That
was the game Firpo got a second yellow card and he got sent off in that game.
But I'll put it like this. The one time Firpo got more than a yellow card, he basically reset his brain, and the next time he played was in the Championship, and he's been great. All it takes is a red card, and then you're a good footballer again. Obviously, that's the way it works.
Yeah.
We'll stick with that. We'll hope. It's fine.
Yeah. Completely.
I think for mine, I've got to be a little bit boring. I've got to say that it's one of the two matches last season that definitely stood out that I was incredibly lucky to be at, which were the Norwich match and the Leicester match. And I don't know what I've picked.
You jammy sod. Those two games were amazing games. Best atmosphere of the season.
They were brilliant. Yeah, it was great. I think I'd go Norwich just because it was very funny being sat in front of the Norwich fans, especially since we scored very early and then we scored again, and it was just sort of like, okay, we're fine then. Let's just have a bit of a go at Ashley Barnes, who is now apparently injured for an extended period. So even his knees are fucking shit. I know. I mean, how will the league ever recover? And we'll flip that on its head. And we will... Okay, I've got two little banners left. Do you want to end on a good note or end on a bad note?
You should always have a sandwich. We were always told you go good, bad, good.
Okay, we'll go bad next. What's your worst time as a Leeds fan?
Oh my God. This is it's like turning on a tap and not being able to shut it off.
But you've got to pick one. It's like turning on a tap, but you've got to get one droplet of water out.
Oh, wow. I mean, it's cliche to say relegation, because that was almost welcome at that point. I kind of wish we'd done it earlier because it was just it was the hope, because mathematically we still could have stayed up again on the last day of the season. Yes, we needed loads of things to go our way, but we still technically could. And that was what was so disheartening about that just awful performance, was the fact that we still had hope. And it really is that kills you when you're a Leeds fan. The hope just annihilates your spirit. I think that probably has to be it, for the fact, I remember I got tearful. Honourable mention, the QPR game at last season. Oh God, because so I've got three and I'll have to choose out of them. So relegation, the QPR match, and then waiting to hear that Bielsa had been sacked, because it was inevitable, because we weren't through a transfer window. There was nothing that the club could do, because they'd already gone cheap by improving us by 0 in the January transfer window. The only thing that they could do to show us that they were doing anything was to sack Bielsa. So, and because I remember saying at the time he's got to go, not because I wanted him to go, but because of the fact that there was nothing else that could be done. And it is hard to pick everybody's spirits up off the floor when you're that far, when you're just being hammered every single week. It is difficult to say, well, after this game, actually, we've got some really winnable games coming up, because sometimes a change is as good as a rest. And maybe they just needed that rest, and Bielsa was never going to change his tactics. But in terms of worst time as a Leeds fan, I think the anger that I felt at the QPR game, I was absolutely livid. But it wasn't a time, if that makes sense. It was like a moment.
Yeah.
So as a time, I would probably say relegation, for the simple fact of it was the unknown. We had an owner that wasn't even in the country at the time, that was trying to sell the ground to purchase another club. We didn't know whether the 49ers were going to be ratified as owners. We didn't know who was staying, who was going. Yeah, it has to be relegation. It has to be.
Yeah, I think I can narrow it down to like a more specific moment as well. And for me, it was I'd spent the first the first part of that day being like, I mean, there's a way that we can do it, and like it's worth a go. And then it took 2 minutes, 2 minutes for Harry Kane to score against us.
I thought you were going to go even sooner than that. I thought you were going to say when Sam Allardyce put the team sheet out, and we went with six defended-minded players in a game that we had to win.
Oh, the gravy man.
Yeah.
I mean, both are valid to count as the moment, but the fact that for some reason we were like, you know what's going to fix our problems? What's going to fix the fact that we can't score goals against anyone? Sam Allardyce, actually. It's like, no, it's stupid. Just make a good decision, please. Why don't we hire the guy that was sacked by the FA for corruption? Brilliant.
Yeah, and clearly, we didn't have the players to play his style of football anyway, because his style of football is hoofball, and like we didn't have those, and Bamford was injured.
Sorry, I've just had a look at the first team lineup, and it's worse than I remembered.
Right, let's see if we can remember it. So it has to be Ayling, Robin Koch.
In central midfield.
Robin Koch was, of course. Lorente was out on loan then. So Ayling, Robin Koch, Max Verber, Rasmus Christensen, or did he come on? Yeah, Rasmus Christensen.
No, wait. Yes, he was at right centre back.
Yeah. Liam Cooper.
Yep.
Right. The game before that was the West Ham game. If you get 2 yellows, it's just a 1 match ban, isn't it? My logic is I'm trying to figure out if Firpo was available for that game or not.
Firpo was available.
No, let's throw him on as well then.
He came on as a sub for Vuba on 60 minutes.
Right, so who was the other defender? Tyler Adams was already injured in January.
Always, of course.
Obviously. Best deal we've ever done, really. Getting rid of him. I can't remember the last one.
Stroke.
Oh, obviously.
You're missing keeper.
Oh, Melier. Oh no, it wasn't. It was the one season guy who went out to Saudi. Oh God, I can't even remember his blooming name. I know what he looks like, but I can't remember his name. Robles?
Yeah, sure, Robles. You're missing 2 central midfielders, a winger and a striker. Just the one winger, by the way.
Jack Harrison, I know, because he was the one who scored our 1 goal in that game, because my little trivia bit is he scored the first and last goal of that Premier League era. Did he play Nonto, Or was he on the bench by that point?
He was on the bench and came on for Harrison.
So striker would be Rodrigo. Aronson, obviously, because he played every
Nope.
game. No.
He came off the bench for Strauch.
So how many players have we got? Robles.
You're at. Did you say the striker?
Rodrigo.
Yeah, you got 2 to go. Both technically central midfielders, but one of them played at right wing back ish.
Shackleton?
Nope.
Oh no, Shackleton was on loan, wasn't he? Geldout was on loan as well. Darko JB?
No, but I'll give you a hint. You've referred to a song that would be very appropriate for him. You're Too Fat to Play for Leeds.
Oh, Weston McKennie.
The Michelin Man. Yeah. One more.
Gosh.
Not currently at Leeds, unsurprisingly.
On loan or gone?
Gone. But not sold.
So went on a free. Or went on a free this year?
Not this year. Went on a free. Basically right away, I think.
For sure.
For sure.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
I think that's got to be the worst Leeds lineup anyone's ever seen.
That's
It's got
utterly
to be.
horrendous.
That's
That is
horrible.
That team wouldn't make it into a lower end championship team. Like if you put that out, we could beat that team with our team, with or without Somerville.
Very easily as well. I wouldn't even consider that really a question.
No. Oh God, that's awful. That's a hideous team. I'm glad we went down if we're putting out that team.
Oh God. Right. And now a moment of positivity in the last few minutes of this recording. Anything you're looking forward to this coming season? Anything fun that doesn't remind us of Sam Allardyce and gravy?
I mean, one has to be the window closing, just so that we know, because it's still not nice, regardless of whoever stays and goes and this, that, and the other. I would genuinely, I think that we have enough in our youth to make up for the positions that we probably still need. So if you told me if we could close the window now, then I'd be like, cool, slam.
That'll do. Yeah. Plus, at this point, Somerville's not gone legally.
Well, exactly. That's what
So
I mean.
there we
That's
go.
what I'm meaning. So, I think I'm looking forward to seeing more wins again after having 2 solid years of us winning. What did we win, like 15, 16 games over from the 22,
Ooh,
21,
not
22
many.
to, we won 7 in the, did we win? I'm sure maybe it's 15.
We
So I'm sure
definitely
we
won more last season than we did those 2 combined. I think maybe like
Yeah.
the Premier League combined.
We
God, the Premier League's a sad place.
Oh no, it's awful. If only there was money in the Championship, I'd be fine with staying here. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to winning games and being happy about Leeds and not wanting to. I always used to do jobs. I would do the washing and try and keep myself, because my nerves would be so shot that I would be trying to distract myself. I'd be listening to watch along whilst popping in and out of the room and watching, because I just was so stressed watching the games. I remember when it was the season that we did stay up, I was out in my garden. Our game had finished, but the Burnley Newcastle game was still going on, and they scored. It was 2-1, and all Burnley needed to do was equal our result. And I think, our game hadn't finished, but it was still 1-1. So if Burnley scored, then they would stay up because of goal difference. And then obviously there was the Rafinha Jack Harrison goal that kept us up, that meant that they had to get a win, and they had 2 minutes. But I kept on refreshing the the stats page, and it was just another shot and another shot and another shot by Burnley. There must have been like 20 odd shots by this point, and I was absolutely panicking. But yeah, I'm just really looking forward to winning games. I'm looking forward to seeing if Aronson can prove some people wrong and some people right. So the people that back him, I know obviously Joe Wainman is a massive one that has backed him. So I hope that he does. We do love a redemption arc. And I think that if he can do that, I think he'll have a really good career, regardless of whether he stays with us or whether he goes on and does something else. Because I think, to be honest, it may suit all parties. If, say, he has a really good season this year, if we then sell him because his stock then goes back up, but, we can kind of shake hands and be like, part as friends kind of thing. Yeah, I think seeing how we changed style from last year, seeing us being a little bit more unpredictable, I think that's what I'm looking forward to as well.
Yeah, I think adding Aronson to that midfield will definitely do that unpredictability stuff. And I think what I'm going to go with for the thing that I'm looking forward to is someone that is in the... I think Aronson is going to be very, very good this season, but is seeing not only how Aronson goes, but alongside him, seeing how Georgie sort of plays into him and Mateo Joseph, assuming Joseph gets those minutes. Because I think we started last season with Rutera as 9 for reasons. And then we finally went, we've got a really good 10 on the pitch, and we would have done last season if we would have bothered fucking playing him, Allardyce. Like, he got an assist in that match against Spurs, and it's like, well, you could have just started him. Why didn't you?
Yeah.
Anyway, outside of Allardyce, the one time he doesn't play a 4-4-2, I think I'm just in a spot where I can't wait to see him at his best without needing to hit the ground and then get running, if that makes sense. So he already knows what he's doing. He already knows what he wants to do. He knows the players around him. And then add Aronson to that. I think that could be very fun to watch. And I'll be honest, I'm in the boat of people that are like, I'm completely fine if we have a really fun season and don't necessarily get promoted, because the Premier League can be a miserable place. But I guarantee once the season started, I'll be like, yeah, we're up. We're up in first. It's not a question. And yeah, we'll find out, I guess.
Yeah, I do think we need to get up this year, for the simple fact of the reasons that it's going to be fun this year will be the same reasons why it won't be as fun next season, because they won't be here. So we need to get up really this year, because we don't want to chance it with third year parachute payments, because we're seeing teams in and around us, i.e. Norwich, Watford, West Brom, struggling as they're kind of coming to the end of their payments. And I just think that we have to get out, because as well, I'm excited to see, touch wood, if we get promoted, I'm excited to see the 49ers in an actual competitive situation. We'll have more give and take over what we can spend and things, because obviously the EFL is so tight that they're having to play everything to the absolute letter kind of thing to make sure that we stay on the right side of everything, whereas in the Premier League there's a bit more leeway, because the money you make is more, the money you're allowed to lose is more as well. So I'm excited for that as well, as a let's get promoted, so that we can all then be excited to having actual owners with business sense. And what are they? They're in the top 10 richest
they're in Paul
consortiums, aren't they? So the amount that we could become a proper global brand again is just ridiculous. I mean, look at shirt sales for last season. You know, we were still in the top 20 around the world,
In the
and we're in the
championship,
Yeah, we're in the championship. So they'll just be seeing dollar signs because of the fact if we have that pull in the championship, you manage us correctly and get us to the Premier League, we're going to be making them some absolute, you know, bombs of money.
It's a good spot to be in, and I hope that we can get there, basically. Either way, I very much enjoyed this video. Hope you did as well. Let us know all your good memories and bad memories and Sam Allardyce hatreds in the comments down below. I appreciate that, Shiver. There's that A-level in drama that we were talking about. Like the video if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're not yet, and you can even become a channel member. It's 99p, and all that's going to Prostate Cancer UK for the charity walk that I am doing, I think, when I release this video as we speak, because I'm starting at 3 p.m. on Saturday. I know, I timed it at the same time as the Valencia match. I'm a moron. Either way, hope you enjoyed, and I will see you later. And I don't know what to... Oh, we're just doing the dancey thing again.
Just doing, I always have a little dance.
It's quite nice, isn't it? Yeah. Just a shouldery dance, though. We're too white for any other dances. Yeah.
I'm not going.
No. See you later.